Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog in the animal.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, it's my man who loves the numbers 1 through 10. It's Frank. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I love ranking things. You know me.
Yeah, you love listing favorites and putting them in order and just
boy,
all those things. Spreadsheets, probably. I don't know what you do.
I actually don't mind spreadsheets. Yeah,
yeah. That's where you and I are different people. Spreadsheets and fantasy. That's where you and I separate.
Yes.
I prefer tables, making tables in a document than a spreadsheet. Is that strange?
See, I like a spreadsheet better because you can sort them better, and
but I can color code them in a better way in a document.
That's debatable.
You know what was also debatable, Frank? IMDB-batable. We are back with another segment of IMDB-batable, or in this case, I should say IMDB-batable, for we are ranking, for we are talking about what they have as the top 10 Batman films of all time. This list, I believe, was made before the Batman, and so that one technically gets excluded from this list, but we could talk about it all the same since it's in the zeitgeist.
Sure.
Because I have things to say about this list as a Batman fan. Now, Frank, before we talk about the IMDb-batable list, if you could deliberately tell me what you are drinking. I tried to make that work. It didn't.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying something that you recommended a few weeks ago, and I managed to get my hands on some. It is the Sam Adams Alpine Lager.
Oh, yeah. It's great, right?
It's really good. And I managed to find a 12-pack of just this.
Nice. Oh, man, you really trusted my advice then, or my... I'm
going to be honest with you.
Whatever I said. Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. It was next to a variety pack. It's probably the same spring variety pack that you got.
Yeah.
And I absentmindedly grabbed this one instead. When I got home, I realized that I had bought the 12 pack of all this, and I was like, great, I guess I'm all in on the Alpine Lager then.
Thank you for your honesty.
I like it a lot.
Good.
I like it a lot. Yes, it is quite good. So I have no regrets. I like it a lot.
It's like a pine tree, but not like gin.
Now I know what you mean. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's as best as a description that I can come up with.
No, it's good.
I'm also drinking a Samuel Adams, who's actually Paul Revere. No big deal.
Yes, that's right. Oh, I forgot that you told me.
Yeah. So I'm drinking a Samuel Adams, but I'm drinking a cold snap because the cold is edging itself away, Frank, and it's weird drinking a cold snap when it's not snappy outside anymore. Or cold. Could still be snappy. When snap peas come in, is it still cold? It's snappy outside.
When it's snap pea season.
Oh, yeah.
Hold it.
That's good. That was a very good pun. That was excellent.
Well done.
Well done, you. Frank, we're here to, of course, I said before, talk about the top 10 Batman movies that are ranked on IMDb. So IMDb-batable. We are going to start from the bottom, right? Is that how we do things? Yes. I don't think it matters. Nobody cares. We're going to start from the bottom. The number 10, I just sniffed into the microphone because I'm going through a cold. I apologize.
Cold snap.
Oh, yeah, no kidding. Number 10 is Batman and Robin with a 3.7 on IMDb.
No surprise there.
Call me crazy. I think that's kind of low. Like
3.7 is low?
Out of 10? I mean, it's not good.
It's Batman and Robin, man.
It's not good, but it's not a 3.7. Like,
yeah, it is.
No, I don't think it is. Like, I really don't. No,
it's
like,
not.
Okay, look. All right, the Batman stuff is not good. Like, even as like a tongue in cheek to the to Adam West, it misses the mark because it takes itself too seriously and misses the point that 66 was making with its pop art like satiric style. And so like that don't work. However, the Bruce Wayne stuff, like when he's actually just Bruce Wayne and there's stuff with Alfred in that movie, it's really good. When Bruce is like, Alfred, I've seen it too many times. It's just sad considering the quality of the movie. So for me to just quote this almost verbatim. But he's like, Alfred, like, am I pig-headed? Am I stubborn? Is it my way or the highway? And Alfred's like, well, yes. Like, of course it is. And they have these really tender moments, especially when Alfred's dying and like, there is actual like time with that in some way, maybe not as much as I would have liked considering their relationship, but it doesn't completely ignore it. And it doesn't even really use it as a gimmick. It's actually about growth and family. And so like, as bad as the movie is, it like does carry itself through with the themes that it's playing with. That's my.
I mean, I would still look when I think about it this way. It's like, is it a 5 out of 10? No, it's less than 50%. Okay, is it a 4 out of 10? 3.7 kind of feels appropriate. It's like it's just stretching.
No, 3.7. This is a 3.7, not a 4.7.
Yes, I know. I'm saying, is it a 4? Not quite. It's just barely scratching a 4. It's a 3.7.
Yeah, we maybe put it.
It's not a 3. It's not a 3. But it's not a 4 either. It's a 3 approaching a 4. 3.7 feels fair to me. I remember when we reviewed it, probably two years ago now, when we went through all the Batman films. Mm-hmm. I remember feeling like, you know what? It's better than I remembered. It has more redeeming qualities. I remember that the Bruce Wayne depiction being one of them, the Bruce and Alfred relationship being one of them. But I still feel like 3.7 is fair, and I certainly feel that putting it at the bottom of the list is fair.
In full disclosure, I have a hard time quantifying things out of 10 because I am a teacher, and anything less than 5 is a failing grade. Like when you like do things out of 10. And so like I have a very hard time figuring out in my minuscule brain like what that is equivalent, because I like in my brain I can only do it as grades. And so like 9s and 10s are A's. 8s are B's, 7 are C's, like and so like this? What is a 3.7? What
that? Would you give this film out of in your
out of 5?
Out of 4 or 5?
Because in my mind I always do 5, and I've been made fun of before for this, but I don't care. And so like 5 is an A, 4 is a B, 3 stars is a C, 2 is a D, and 1 is an F. And so I'm putting it at like a 2.5.
So you're giving it a 5.
I'm feeling generous. Yeah. So so I'm giving it a 5. If that's like what I'm doing, then like out of 10, then I'm giving it a 5, I guess.
So on Letterboxd, you'd give it a 2.5.
Out of 5 stars, I'd probably give it a 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe if I'm feeling super generous, it's 3, but it's definitely not a 3. It's
so you
definitely
have warmer feelings about this film than I do, but
ironically, because this movie is about Mr. Freeze, audience. Yes, I have warmer feelings.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I over the years I've started to take the movie for what it is instead of like what I wanted it to be when I was a kid or even as an adult or whatever. And I just kind of like, this is the movie that they made. And so how am I judging? Because there's so much other Batman content out there. It's not like this was the last one. And that feeling like when one screws up, you're like, it's over now. The ride is over. Yeah. And so that's obviously not the case. And so I can just take it for what it is. And there's some stuff about it, like even like dumb things, like when I was a kid I like hated the Batmobile because it didn't have a top. Like, Batman, what if it rains? There's obviously rains in Gotham. The streets are always wet in this movie. And then like, so why don't you have a top to your car? And now as an adult I'm like, that car is like, the Batmobile is based off of a Roadster. Like that's what they were going for. That's cool. It doesn't need a top because Roadsters don't have tops. So like I like just look at it in a different way. But yeah, but anyway, yes. So it definitely deserves to be at the bottom of the list, though.
Yes, we can agree there. Number 9 on the list is Batman Forever at a 5.4 stars.
I think this is kind of low for Batman Forever.
See, I disagree. I feel like that's fair. I feel like 5.4 is kind of fair.
Batman Forever is entertaining. Like, it's not great filmmaking.
But
it's
at a 5.4 entertaining.
So what is a 5.4?
This is democracy, Tim. This is the people are speaking.
No, the people who if they disagree with one thing, vote 1 star out of 10. So
it's true.
You can only take the.
Yeah, no, it's true. Our previous IMDb debatable episodes, we have said that we're surprised at some of these ratings because it probably is people who rate it 1 star because there's
no subtlety to the rating, or you can't
the movie's called Batman Forever, but it's only 2 hours long. It wasn't forever. 1 star.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or he has nipples on the bat suit, 1 star. I'm like, what about the good things in the movie? There are other things.
I think you are more forgiving at times though, because you'll say okay, but the vehicles were good, or the costumes were good, or the set design was good. And I don't think the average person, and I would say IMDb is very much like the average viewer, I don't think they're thinking in those terms. You are literally a film student.
Yep.
And so I don't think the average person is thinking at the level of depth that you are, to be fair.
No, that's absolutely, it is an emotional rating, purely. There's no.
It's emotional because Batman's your favorite, but I'm saying you.
No, I mean other people's
analytical of things
that's correct.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. They're not I'm trying to connect all of it together all at the same time. So I even sometimes I'll give that movie was a 4 or 5 out of 5 or whatever. I didn't emotionally connect to it,
right.
but I intellectually understand what the movie was doing and how it did it, and it did a good job. So I sometimes remove the entertainment value for myself out of it because it's not always about me.
Right.
So I don't know, just my humility coming through, I guess. But anyway, Batman Forever has some redeeming qualities. I think it actually has, out of the 90s, late 80s, 90s Batman suits, Val Kilmer's might be the best one if you take the nipples away.
It's awesome. It's actually awesome. Yeah.
Really
take the bat nipples
suit.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's so sleek and shiny. The symbol is just the right depth. There's just enough depth to the bat and the yellow, and it's just his cowl is great. He looks good in the suit. It's just just take those nipples away and it's solid. Yeah. It's so good.
And I think we talked about this, but I got to say, I love that Batmobile. I just have such nostalgia for that Batmobile. I don't think it's objectively good. But I have nostalgia for it.
I don't understand the design of the Batmobile, what they were going for, because it's an exoskeleton.
Nonsense.
So it's
nonsense.
What is it armor? Is it a look? I don't understand what it was going for. At least the Anton first one looks kind of it's like a tank mixed with a missile or something, or a jet fighter or something like that, or but I don't know what this is trying to do. I just apart from look cool, but I don't think it looks very cool either.
I think it looks pretty cool. In fact, I'm looking at them on eBay right now because I guess we're talking about it. I'm kind of I kind of want to have it again. Look, I mean, it would look kind of cool on the shelf behind me.
I can actually, if I can find it, if you stop looking, maybe I'll send you something that I think you'll enjoy.
Oh no.
Yeah. Nothing too big. No. Nothing extraordinary.
But yeah, I had the Hasbro one, and if I remember right, it lit up and stuff.
Yep, I did not have. We've talked about this before, but for some reason, I did not have Batman Forever Batman toys. I had stuff from '89, some stuff from '89, Returns, and Batman and Robin, but for whatever reason, I skipped over Batman Forever.
Yeah,
so strange.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I think that rating 5.4 is mostly pretty fair.
Is that a 3-star film out of 5? Is that? Because that's about where I would put it.
5.4 out of 10 would be like 2.5 3-star. Yeah.
I'd put it about out of my 5. Then I would say that is also correct.
Okay.
It's watch it if you want. Maybe you'll be entertained. If you don't watch it, you're not missing anything.
Sure. Yep. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now this is kind of surprising. Number 8 is Batman the Killing Joke at a 6.4.
Yeah, so The Killing Joke was released in theaters very briefly. It was one of those on Monday only you can watch The Killing Joke in theater, and it is it's a divisive DC animated film, actually. So because there's a whole second segment to the story. So the second half is the Killing Joke, that the Alan Moore, Brian Boland graphic novel that many people know and care for. The first half is a Batgirl story to give you some kind of empathy for the character.
Right.
And so when she does get shot and paralyzed by the Joker, you feel something instead of her. Right. Instead of her just being like a woman in the refrigerator.
Right.
Right. And so, which I taught in class the other day. Thank you, Gail Simone. I would actually
Nicely
like to, we're teaching Hamlet, and I said,
Ah.
Ophelia is a bit of a woman in the refrigerator,
Yeah,
right?
I see that.
She is really only there to serve her male counterparts.
I feel you. I feel
yeah.
you.
Oh, Ophelia. Nice job. Give yourself a bell ring for that. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, but it's not the first part that people had a huge problem with. It's that Batman and Batgirl hook up in the movie. And so there's a people said there's a that's gross factor to it because he's much older than she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also this like, oh, you only care about her because you guys did it on a roof thing.
Right.
Like, and I didn't get that from the film. I mean, there's precedent for Barbara and Bruce hooking up. I'm looking at you, like Batman Beyond. Like, I think everyone seems to forget that part. Like, everyone's like, Batman Beyond, great show. Like, did you forget where Bruce and Barbara were a couple, where they talk about that in the show? And obviously there was an age gap there too, but then like when they do it in the Killing Joke, it's weird. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand where that, like, one is okay and the other one is not. But yeah, I think it's fine. I don't think it's like I don't think that movie's anything to write home about, but I think the performances from Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy and Tara Strong are strong. And I don't know. Like, I guess the rating I think is pretty fair. Like, I don't think I'd change it. But I
agree.
I'm actually surprised it's as high as it is because I know there's quite some hate.
Yeah, honestly, I am too, and not because I don't think it deserves it, but yeah, because I knowing how polarizing it is, I would expect it to be lower. But I also think that it's the kind of movie that the general public has not seen as much as fans have seen it. So that sort of, I think, changes the weighting of it a little bit, right? Where like the general public has seen all of the live action, like the general movie going public sees those. Whereas this, you kind of had to go out of your way to see it, even in theaters. Like, you only saw it if you knew it was going to be in theaters for that, one Fathom event or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Fathom event. That's the name of it. I could not remember the name.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd leave it as is. To number, I probably would. Maybe I'd put it up. Maybe I'd raise it up a little higher based on some of these other movies. But maybe. But anyway, number 7, everyone's favorite, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, otherwise known as BVS DOJ. Frank, we're here to just talk about it as a Batman movie, so you can.
I recuse myself.
You can put away your claws. Like,
I'll be in my corner.
Calm the frig down.
I've said everything I have to say about this movie.
I know you have. We're just talking about
as
it
a Batman movie.
As a Batman movie, to which he is the antagonist of the movie for the majority of the movie. It's so. I'm going to talk about this in a very hard way, I think. So, listen, Frank and listeners, it's a really weird take on Batman. And I say that as a man who currently has the Dark Knight Returns toys sitting on his desk, like some of the dark and grittiest you can get. I have a huge problem with Batman killing people, and that's been well documented. I mean, kind of moving up from where we are now in the list, like, I'm just gonna see Batman kill people. Pretty much, he's killed people almost on all of these lists, including Batman Forever. Like, it's like, fine. This is a movie in which Batman like decides to murder somebody because he believes that they are a threat, that being Superman. and then proceeds to kill a lot of people accidentally, maybe on purpose, in means to quote unquote save people from this alien. But it turns out he's killed more people in his way to do that than Superman has. And Superman, who also has killed people in this universe. And so, like, accidentally and on purpose. And so from that point, it's a really bad take on Batman, because you miss the point of what has happened to me shall never happen to anybody else. And that includes the deaths of people that might have loved ones. Like, it's pretty basic. Batman is Batman to make sure that nobody has to suffer for what he went through. That means that killing anybody negates that purpose, because like that dude might be a criminal, but guess what? Maybe he has a kid at home, and Batman just took that guy's life and now put that kid through exactly what he went through. So, like, you could talk all you want about Batman killing people and it's like cool or whatever. Like, you missed the complete point of Batman. Like over the top. Like, anyway, that's not what we're here for. If you remove the killing, he's a very good Batman. It's a very good Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
He does a good amount of detective work that doesn't really work super well in the movie, but he is a detective. Certainly, it shows him doing that. He doesn't really care about his secret identity either, but you know what? It's fine. So there's those aspects. And then there's like Batman himself. He looks cool. He's got the gadgets. His cave's pretty okay. Like all this stuff. Like the car is just a car. I actually think I prefer the Batman and Robin one to this. I think this is actually my least favorite Batmobile, because it doesn't really...
It's not really a Batmobile.
No, it's really not. It's like a souped up tank.
Yeah.
But it's like the Tumbler is not really a Batmobile either.
Right.
It like sits in the same category. They're kind of the same. It doesn't have the... it doesn't have the same flair. It doesn't have a bat flair. Like you need some kind of like, hey, guess what? I'm Batman. Like, and none of those cars have that. And I think, but I think just on Bet the Tumbler is just kind of cooler looking, so I like it a little bit more. But anyway, so just if you take out the killing, it's.
I think people, and I feel like I still don't have enough distance from this, because I was somewhat skeptical of Ben Affleck as Batman, and not like vitriolic like some of the stuff that like the second he was cast the internet exploded, but I was somewhat skeptical, and I was pleased with his portrayal, like of Bruce in particular, and of Batman like in general. So I think I sort of, my scale is tipped a little bit in his favor, because I'm like, oh wow, you exceeded my expectations in that way, but I'm not sure I have enough distance from it yet to really sort of judge his performance, more objectively, because I'm still sort of, I don't want to say blinded, but sort of, I give him some extra points for being better than I anticipated.
No, that's fair. I think that's actually quite fair. I quite like his Batman. I think that he's, I guess, probably top 3. Like, he is like,
yeah, he's really good, really
strong. It's not his, just basing it on Batman v Superman and not any of the Justice League movies. Like it's a strong performance. He did not write Batman that way,
right?
So I am only going off of what he's given, and right. And his performance is great. I recognize that as Bruce Wayne. I recognize it as Batman, even if it's a slightly more aggressive or maybe manic Batman than I would prefer. Like,
sure.
But again, like I said, all the Batmans, even George Clooney, like kill people. Like, and George Clooney's more like adjacently killing them because they leave Bane to die. Batgirl and Robin do, but in Batman and Robin, but so like that's not, if I take that away, because like they all do it, so like whatever, like that's right. I can't keep that. So literally the only Batman not to really kill anybody or adjacently kill anybody is Robert Pattinson.
Yep.
Because even Adam West like kills all those goons when they dehydrate.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they ain't coming back, and he's not trying to save them. Yeah. So whatever. I think it's sitting in the right place, though. I think that Batman is better than the Val Kilmer and George Clooney Batman. I think it is a better movie than The Killing Joke because it's one whole unified story. It's not two separate ones smushed together. So I actually kind of agree on where it's sitting.
It belongs at number 7 on this list. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6 is Batman Returns at a 7.1 out of 10.
It's a little low for my tastes, but I understand. I think, yeah.
7.1 might be a little high.
No. 7.1 is like a 4 out of 5, right? In my ranking.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So
more like 3.5.
Yeah. Yes, maybe it's a little low then. But yeah, I can filter this movie. This is Batman as done by Tim Burton. It's not Batman 89. It's Batman as done by Tim Burton.
Well,
and there is a difference.
It's the Penguin's movie. Batman's just in it.
He just happens to be there occasionally. Yep.
Penguin is the Edward Scissorhands of this movie.
Yeah, along with Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Yes.
And Christopher Walken's Max Shrek, the real villain of the story.
Max Shrek is also.
Who is just lovely in this movie. Santa Claus, afraid not. Just a poor guy, schmuck who got lucky. He's so good.
We saw this movie at a park in, was it Somerville?
Yeah.
Like
we did.
8 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun.
That was really fun. Yeah.
It is as you would kind of expect from Tim Burton. It's the Penguins movie. It is the sympathetic story of the misunderstood Penguin.
Until he decides that he needs to steal and kill a bunch of children to enact his revenge. Like the movie's pretty dark. And
I feel like Tim Burton has been telling us for years what he plans to do, and we just haven't been understanding him or believing him. He's. I
love Tim Burton. I completely understand. That's why I think I like this movie because, like,
no. I mean that one day he's going to create a bunch of mechanical penguins and kidnap children.
That's probably
he plans
true.
to do that one day.
Yeah, well, he lives in London, so that's their problem, I guess.
Sorry, English kids.
Sorry. Yeah, I think for the movie that it is, it knows what it is. It's like incredibly weirdly fun and macabre and atmospheric, and like Batman's actually, apart from the bomb he puts in a guy's pants, he's pretty tame.
Some days he
actually sets a guy on fire too, but that's fine. There's snow. He's fine. Sometimes you can't get rid of a bomb, right? Yeah. Maybe that was the joke. Maybe that was like what he was going for.
Maybe.
But yeah, Batman doesn't like. Batman is very reactionary in this movie, which I don't like.
Super murdery in this movie.
No, he's not super murdery. Out of the these Batman lists, Michael Keaton is not super murdery.
No,
kind of is. No, it's more like I'll give you the chance to escape.
Yeah,
kind of murdery, except for the bomb guy and the Joker in Batman '89.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that, but
yeah, words escape me.
There are more murdery Batmen than
absolutely. Yeah, Ben Affleck is more murdery Batman.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Like that. Yeah. So this is. But anyway, what I mean by reactionary, I mean like he doesn't like. He's not really like actively trying to do anything for the most part. He's very much like we're gonna wait and see what happens, and that's kind of maybe the fault of this Batman. Like when the Ice Princess gets pushed off the roof, he's like, oh no, and he like watches her fall.
Yes,
but in Batman '89, he like dives off of the cathedral to save Vicky. And I'm like, so like you could do that in one movie, but you can't do that in the other movie.
Yeah,
I call foul play. So plus he has great lines like "Eat floor, high fiber."
Stars, 7.1 out of 10 is kind of fair. It's maybe a little high. I would maybe put it at closer to 6, but maybe I'm being harsh. But it is.
Well, we'll find out when we have to rewatch it for Superhero Slapback. You'll see how you feel.
Yeah, well, we'll see then.
It is more of a particular taste Batman though. Like it is not like, I don't think it's like it's not a general audience Batman. Yeah. Which is fine, but it's not for everyone. Like in the way that the first one is.
That's true. And I'll admit that Tim Burton is sort of an acquired taste for me, and I don't know that I've quite acquired the taste yet.
Sure.
That's
fair.
But I like some of his films more than others. Okay, number 5.
The Lego Batman movie at 7.3. I want to be really harsh here. This is too high.
I feel like it's too low.
I found the Lego Batman movie really boring. Really boring. It was too long. No. It wasn't that funny. The best joke comes really early in the movie where Batman or Bruce Wayne meets Dick Grayson and he's like, "Hi, I'm Richard, but the kids call me Dick." He's like, "Yeah, kids can be cruel."
Yeah.
that is an amazing joke, and I don't think it really ever recovers. Like it ever goes up from there.
I will agree it's too long. I do think it's too long. I do think that it wasn't as funny as it could have been, especially coming out of the Lego movie where Batman was so funny. But 7.3 does feel a little. I would have bumped it closer to an 8. Oh, hello, my cat Bruce, who is named after Bruce Wayne, is now vying for my attention.
Nice,
as we talk about his namesake. Hi, buddy. But yes, he. I thought that it was entertaining. It was a little too long. It could have been funnier, but I think that it deserves maybe another half star above this.
Yeah, I would put it. Honestly, I'd put it somewhere around Batman and Robin.
So at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I really just don't think the movie has much to offer. And I like that take on Batman in the Lego movie. I think he's hilarious. Mm-hmm. It's not like, how dare you disrespect this character that I like. I'm all good for making fun of Batman or this weird satiric take on him or something like that, or ironic take on him. I just didn't find the movie great. It was just obnoxiously loud and long. I
think it didn't need to be a theatrical movie. I think it needed to be more like the Lego Star Wars specials, where it's silly. It's a perfect candidate for a streaming service. Make it 45 minutes or something, and keep it tight, just all the best jokes, and trim all the fat, and just have it be a special that lives on a streaming service. Now, this was before, the streaming services were what they are today, but that's where I would have put it. That's where I would have put it instead.
Yeah, I like that idea. I probably would have liked the movie a lot more.
Yeah. I think the context is important there, and having it be a theatrical release was probably pushing it. I don't think it quite deserved that. So, on those merits, I would agree with you. It belongs lower on the list.
Mm-hmm.
As far as
coming in at number 4, then is Batman 89 with a 7.5.
That's too low.
It's low. It's really low. It's a really quality movie and a good Batman movie. I oscillate if I like it more than Returns, but I think I'm in the it is a better Batman movie because it is. Yeah, it is still about Batman. It's weirdly mostly about Vicky Vale, but it is and somewhat the Joker and then Batman. But I think it's a better movie, and it certainly is a better take on Batman. So yeah, I find it very low, especially considering the top 3 in this list. I like Batman 89 is better than at least one of these movies.
I agree.
Yeah, so I don't care for how low it is, but I did go to our point from previous episodes on this. This is IMDb is the more modern it gets, sometimes the higher the rating.
Yes, I think there's a bias towards
Yes,
recency. Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah, but it's a lovely movie. Just because we are edging in past our time, let's move this along. Number 3 is Batman Begins with an 8.3. I think that's pretty solid. I think I'd pretty much leave that where it is.
I think I would. Yeah, I think that's very fair. Yeah.
Batman Begins is a great Batman movie.
It's an excellent movie. It's a great movie.
It's a great Batman movie. Christian Bale is a better Bruce Wayne than he is a Batman.
I agree.
I think his Batman gets worse each movie. He's a solid good Batman. In Batman Begins, he's a very good he's very good in Begins. He's good in The Dark Knight, and he's are you even Batman?
He's kind of a caricature by the time we get to Rises.
Yeah, a little bit. And we'll actually we could talk about that next. So coming in at number 2 is The Dark Knight Rises at 8.4. I think this is too high.
Yeah, I would swap Begins and Rises in terms of.
Yep, me too.
Begins is number 3 on this list. Rises is number 2. I would switch those, and honestly, I would put Batman 89 above Rises.
I would too. If I really had to, I'd go number 1, and then I'd go Begins, and then Batman 89, or maybe 89 and Begins, depending on my mood.
Yep, I agree.
But
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just Rises is, as a Batman film, it's very problematic. Like I was saying to somebody the other day that the weird thing with Christian Bale's Batman is that, like, his first movie, he spends literally the whole movie becoming Batman, like, you know, like getting to this moment, like, this is what I've become, this is what I need to be, all this stuff. And then the next 2 movies, all he tries to do is stop being Batman.
Yeah, it's true.
Like he spends almost his entire adult life like moving towards this goal, and you're like, yeah, Batman Begins, next movie, Batman Ends, probably he's like trying to retire, and then Dark Knight Rises, he's like, and I actually did in fact give up, and I'm done now because we solved crime and stuff. Turns out we didn't, so I'm back, but I'm not good at it anymore. End of movie. Like what?
I'm gonna blow myself up in the sky.
What? Yeah, I mean, yeah. What I find really funny is that, like, the lessons that he learns throughout the course of the Dark Knight trilogy, Pattinson got in like 1 movie. Like, he's like, I need to be a symbol of hope and not fear, and there you go, you did it. 1 movie. And like this guy, like, he doesn't really become a symbol of anything. Batman can be anybody, right? That's the thing in Dark Knight Rises. Batman can be anybody. Right. I'm like, but he can't. He can't. Yeah. He can't just be anybody.
It is very much a reflection of its times, though, right? Like, think about, 2005 through 2012. Like, that was the trend of the times. And it also is a reflection of, like, post 9/11,
totally,
Iraq War, like all the despair, the heading into the financial crisis, like it was very much a reflection of its time. Whereas I think Pattinson's take feels obvious to us now, partly because we saw those movies, right, and partly because we're comic book readers and have kind of
I agree
gotten here,
But I remember, like, was it? I grew to appreciate Begins more as I saw it more. But like when I first saw it in 2005, I was like, yeah, that was good.
I actually really, really liked it the first time I saw it. But and then I sort of cooled on it after I saw The Dark Knight, and I sort of comparing the two, thought like, well, The Dark Knight is so much better than Batman Begins, but I've grown to appreciate it more in more recent years. It's been a long time since I've seen it. I actually would like, we'll watch it for Super Slapback, I guess.
We'll get there. I think just in the Batman parts of things, I'm like, Begins is great, but his suit is dumb. Like, it's like the suits, the Dark Knight trilogy suits are like, they're so uninterested in Batman being in a suit. Even though, like, part of the point of Begins, he's like, I'm a symbol, I'm a this and all this. And I'm like, but then, like, at the end of it, like, you're just in an all black suit that, like, you have a symbol, but it blends into the rest of the suit, so you might as well not have it. And your neck is so fat. It looks so dumb. Like, I just can't. And, like, the cape material doesn't blend well with the suit itself. It improves itself in The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, but it's basically the same problem with, like, you're not really interested in Batman in the suit and like what that suit is and represents. He's just a kind of like, because he has to wear it kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Nolan, I don't think was interested in Batman in the suit. Like,
no, it's very much John Peters. Like, Superman can't be in that costume,
right?
Like, it feels very much like that.
And even like, and the whole thing he was trying to do was like gritty, real, grounded, right? So like, the suit feels too comic booky. We need to make it tactical, right? And the vehicles, it can't be a Batmobile that's like a hot rod. It needs to be a tank. Like all these things. Like it needs to be a militarized version of whatever it is to make it feel gritty and grounded.
Yep.
Because that was the take. That was the version that he was doing, and so it translates into the suit, translates into all of those things.
Yeah, and it's funny. I think that the Dark Knight trilogy, in some ways, like, helped comic book movies and also really hurt comic book movies because of that take. Like, like, it has to be realistic, really hurts like some of the fun of what makes comic books. And that's why like the Batman is kind of fun, and like the Batmobile does have a bat-ish swoop to part of the car.
Yeah.
His motorcycle at the end has this like bat type design over the headlight. So you're like getting to this the symbolic figure of the bat is important. The branding of the bat is important on your stuff.
I feel like yes. So that trilogy did like it was obviously like huge blockbuster, like record shattering success, and a creative and critical success. And I think that you're right. I agree with you that I think it kind of messed up some people's perception, in particular studios' perception, of what makes a good superhero movie. When those were excellent Batman movies, like outstanding.
Oh
Batman,
yeah, I feel like I'm down on I'm down on them. They're like the Dark Knight trilogy is excellent.
They belong,
especially
at the,
the
top
first
of
two.
This. They belong at the top of this.
They
list,
do,
right?
and of course, the Dark Knight is number one at 9.1. We're kind of like dancing around what number one is, but
number one.
like the Dark Knight is number one on this list,
and like as it should be. And we can talk about where the Batman belongs in a second, but like I completely like that is absolutely the way it should be. But not all superhero movies need to be made that way. Not all superhero movies need to be gritty and grounded. Not everything needs to be that way. And I think that it's taken us maybe 10 years, post Dark Knight Rises for that to start to like sort of be understood, because not everything, but many films since then, Marvel films being a big exception, big exception. Not everything needs to be gritty, grounded, and dark to be a good superhero film. I think that sometimes there is a misunderstanding that like, well, those movies made so much money, let's do that. And the misunderstanding is that not all characters can function that way. Right.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say, yes, obviously the MCU is not gritty or dark or mostly even grounded, but it did start that way.
It started that way. And because so it was still in the shadow of this.
Right. And so Iron Man doesn't really count in some way because it's, the suit of armor. But like the first Captain America, even all of Captain America's suits, apart from the Avengers, really is like, it's like the realistic gritty Captain America costume. Like,
sure.
The first one is like, he's got
costume, but in tone, the films are not.
No. But like, even like, but that's what I mean. Like even the, like even though like it needs to be tactical, like the idea that things like need zippers and straps and things like that, so it feels more real.
It needs to look functional, right? Like,
yeah. And so
it's
like,
not just a costume, it's a uniform. It's
right. And that's not always necessary, I think. And I actually, as much as like you always do, and I sometimes do pan Snyder's take on some things, I got to give him credit for just like throwing people in actual costumes. Like Superman wears a costume. Batman wears a costume.
Definitely.
Wonder Woman wears her costume armor adjacent thing. But, like they very rarely, like even most of the DC EU movies, like they are costumes.
They're costumes.
Like they have moved in it. They moved in a different direction, and I really appreciate that. So, but anyway, there are two movies absent from this list that bug me. One is the Batman, but that is, that movie had not come out yet.
Right. I know what the other one is. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah. Why is it not on this list? It was in the theaters. It actually has a 7.8 on IMDb.
Does it really?
Yeah. So
that would put it at number 4 on this list if it were here. It's above Batman 89 and below Batman Begins.
Yeah, I would throw Rises down and keep Phantasm in that top 4, like without putting the Batman in here. So it really should be Night, Begins, Batman, and Mask of the Phantasm.
I'm honestly surprised the Killing Joke is on here, considering that it was just like a Fathom event, and Mask of the Phantasm was an actual theatrical release.
I agree. So like this list is dumb, and I was waiting till the end to get to that point.
Yeah.
But like that, I like don't understand where the criteria came from and like who made this list and omitted that very fact that it was actually in the theaters. So. Yeah, I'd probably put it at somewhere in the top 4. Like, so the Batman is in here. Like, for me, it's number 1 just because I think, like, it's that, like what I said earlier, that Christian Bale's Batman is, like, I don't need to be Batman anymore. I'm good giving it up. I'm fine. For you, Rachel, right? Yeah, I'm like, there's like it's like not a nobility to him as a character. He's like, leave Harvey for me, Bruce Wayne. I'm going to give up Batman for you, even though I spent my entire life working towards this goal, and I've actually lost the thread of my goal because of that. And like, it's just some like murky as a Batman fan, not necessarily as a movie. The movie is so good.
Yeah.
Top notch. It's really, really strong. Just that take on Batman, I don't particularly love. That scope of it. There are other things about him that he just like gets so right, and he's so good at so much. But the limits of Batman and I know, yeah, it's just really good when he like takes the rifle apart when he like hits the guy. It's so good. But there's other stuff that I don't particularly care for, and there really wasn't anything in the Batman that I was like, I don't like that. That is a bad take on Batman or Bruce Wayne.
I feel like it's still too soon for me to adequately put this on a list somewhere, because like my gut is like I want to put it at number 1 or 2. Like The Dark Knight, I kind of want to keep it number 1 because I'm like, I'm probably, just feeling exuberant about this movie because it's new.
Exactly.
So I want to leave The Dark Knight at number 1 and put The Batman at number 2, and that's where I think I want to put it right now. But in a few years, I might look back and feel differently about it. The same way that I'm saying that I feel like BVS DOJ, the Batfleck portrayal, I feel really positive about it because it exceeded he exceeded my expectations. But in 10 years, I might feel a little bit differently with more time to be objective. So I don't know. I think Pattinson did a great job. I think that movie does a great job. And I think it belongs at like probably number 2 on this list for me. But in a few years I might disagree. I guess as a snapshot in time, I'd put it at number 2.
Yeah. If you're looking just at pure like maybe cinematic tension or like plot tension, I think The Dark Knight is almost unbeatable from this list. Like there's just like it like completely understands its pace and the importance of ratcheting up stakes at particular moments and where it starts and where it ends, and like it like defies expectations at certain moments. And I don't think the Batman does that in the same way. I just think as a purely like just like Batman to Batman, like the Batman is a better take on Batman, but the movie The Dark Knight is a better movie.
Yes. Yes. I think that's a great way to put it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's it. But then in Mask of the Phantasm is tremendously good. Like, and I don't have
for sure.
I like don't have a problem with a single aspect of that movie from top to bottom. And so like, is that the best one? I don't know. It's hard to say, but it really should be on this list, at least in the top 3 or 4. So
I would take Killing Joke off this list and put Phantasm in it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if I really had my way about it, I'd probably take Lego Batman movie off of this list, but
probably, yeah.
Maybe it's just because it's a satire of Batman.
Right. It doesn't feel like it belongs with the rest of these that are serious takes on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's part of the problem. I am gonna use my one lookup to look up Batman 66, the movie. But that does kind of belong on this list as well. I mean, maybe they wanted to limit it to 10, but that I feel like that belongs here. It's got a 6.5, so it actually should be
way too low.
It
that
should be
garbage.
It's hovering around Batman v Superman underneath, like, so Forever Robin and Killing Joke are out or whatever, and then you have to add in Batman 66. So this list again is weird. Like in its
that movie deserves at least a 7.0, at least, probably more like an 8.0. But like,
I think
it's not
anything
as serious as the other films, but like it's before what it is. I think
you have to understand that it's comedy and that it's a spoof and that it's satire and it's all these things. I do think that it has pacing issues. Like even as an adult, like it starts really strong and like dips,
slows way down.
Yeah, dips real weird. Like they don't know how to sustain past like the 2 episode mark.
But it's also 80 minutes. Like it's a short movie.
I don't know what it is. I still have the page open so I can check.
It
is an hour and 45. It's actually almost 2 hours.
Okay, it's longer than I thought. All right, I take it back then. Yeah, that's longer than I thought. It's yes, it does have some pacing issues though, for sure. but I would give it at least a 7. I mean, I would put it at I would put top 5. I put it in the top 5. I would, yes, easily top 5. I put it above BVS. I'd put it above a Lego Batman movie for sure. And I would put it up there with, the Batman and Dark Knight, Batman Begins, and Batman 89.
Wow, you do love that movie. That's great. Frank, you know what I love? When you tell the people where they can find us.
Yeah, well, our website is beerwithgeeks.com. Our network's website is thoughtbubbleaudio.com. You can support us financially at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio at any dollar amount, starting at $1 on up, and help us make these podcasts. You can email us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. You can find and subscribe in whatever app you're listening to us in right now. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or wherever you're listening to us right now. That would be a tremendous help as well. And you can email us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com and tweet at us at beerwithgeeks.
Well said, Frank. Well done, as always, my friend. Well, this was enjoyable. Nice. I'm debating with you.
Yes.
And until next time,
cheers.